Merry late Christmas, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite basketball Christmas podcast, episode 68 of Sitting Courtside. My name is Dante Toro.
My name is Black Santa. Jerry D.
Jerry is very excited for the Christmas season, as you can tell. I look like I am dreading Christmas being right around the corner, but Jerry is all festive, ready to go today in his Santa hat and his sweater that he probably is going to return after this recording.
Going right back to Marshall's, baby.
You only wear it once a year, so I don't blame you. But yeah, we're back. Happy. We're filming this before Christmas, so that's why we're extra festive and stuff. For Jerry's extra festive, but this is coming up post Christmas, so hopefully everyone had a great Christmas wherever you spent it with family, friends, loved ones. Hopefully you had a great holiday season. But we're not here to talk about Christmas and our favorite songs and food and music, all that stuff. No. We're here to talk about something we all love.
Christmas Carol, though.
Fantastic. Polar Express, best Christmas movie. I got it tattooed on my leg. But we're here to talk about some NBA games here, something that we all collectively love. We're all here for. And we're going to start off with a situation going on out in Sacramento, that it's not looking too good for some players over there. So the Sacramento Kings are currently 12th in the Western Conference, sitting at 13-17. They've lost 4 straight games. De'Aaron Fox and Rich Paul, his agent, Clutch Sports, as we all know, they're reading the room in Sacramento. They're kind of keeping an eye on things. They're keeping their eyes open, their ears open as well. Just kind of seeing and hearing the situations that might be going on in Sacramento. Because obviously this offseason, they signed DeMar DeRozan, added him to the mix of what they have already with Fox, a bonus. You got Murray, you got Horter, you got Malik Monk, you got other guys in there as well. So far, the experiment is not looking great. I hate to say that because obviously we're huge DeMar DeRozan fans, and I love to see him, be successful. But he only had like 2 points last night in their loss, not looking great. Kind of talked about this briefly last week. I think my output was a little bit more optimistic. But a week later, I'm going to ask you where you think the Kings should go here and whether or not you think they should blow it up or not. But I'll tell you what, my opinion this week compared to last is a little different because the West is strong.
It's hard.
It's hard to make it out the West, and they are not making it easy for themselves. And if they keep up with this pace and you're not making it to the playoffs, sometimes you gotta sell when things are hot. And De'Aaron Fox, expiring contracts coming up, looking for more money in that situation. It seems like there's a perfect storm brewing in Sacramento for someone to leave at least.
Absolutely. That's the problem. That's why I was on the downside, right?
You were much more on the downside than I was last week.
This isn't exactly doing anything for my holiday joy, to be correct about this, but It's just like we just said, the West is too tough, man. And even when they made the signing over the summer to get DeMar DeRozan,
it still wasn't a guarantee.
Still
wasn't a guarantee.
I didn't love it. I didn't like it. It just seemed like, we wanted to add a name, somebody that did hold some value, that went on a crazy Wilt Chamberlain-like streak in DeMar DeRozan. We're going to put this in with Sabonis, with De'Aaron Fox, and all of a sudden we're going to remain this top 5, top 3 team out. No.
Right. This isn't 2-3 years ago.
DeMar DeRozan is a really good player. Has a case to be a future Hall of Famer, potentially.
Sure.
I think if you would have added him in anywhere else, like maybe even the Clippers, if they wanted to bring another LA native to their building, or maybe even to the Lakers, or maybe even back to San Antonio, he probably would have looked a lot better. But the Sacramento Kings like to run and gun the entire time. They like to push the pace. They don't really want to settle for these long twos. But not saying it's not like DeMar DeRozan's having a terrible season. I think he's not. He's just in a wrong spot.
I will say he's having his lowest scoring performance in 10 years. He hasn't scored this least amount of points since 2014.
Because it doesn't fit.
And I think it's one of those things too where, for his sake, I hope it doesn't turn out this way, but it could lead to, we see DeMar DeRozan in this situation and be like, he's washed. He can't play. And it's going to be hard for him to find his footing anywhere else.
People already are.
When realistically, like you said, a lot of the times it does just come down to situation. And in this case, it does seem like the situation just isn't working out. So, we're talking about De'Aaron Fox getting traded potentially. Do you think, who has more value? It's Fox. But do you think this is something where they should just get rid of DeRozan and see if that fixes things, or they should just really just hit the reset and get rid of their former first round pick?
I think they're gonna have to hit the reset because like even if they do move DeRozan, who wants him enough to where it's like I'm gonna give
That's why
you
I'm saying with the
good
value, it's like what can you get in return?
what
He's
ancillary
damaged goods. You have damaged goods at this point, whether or not like we don't see it, but like everyone else is looking at it that way.
Yeah, like I think again, DeMar can be good in a lot of different NBA cities.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think I think he makes sense for a handful of
a
contenders.
lot of
Maybe
teams.
not a whole lot, but at least to put him in a situation where he could average 25 plus again, or he could be a productive third option or second option on a
Mm-hmm.
team. I do see that, but again, like going back to the summer, I just never felt like Mike Brown was going to be able to implement DeMar DeRozan. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to take a hit at him. It's just more so I just don't love the fit. I didn't love it then, and I still don't love it now. So it's ultimately going to lead to them moving on from De'Aaron Fox because
Right.
there's not another big name. But once they do that, they need to realize that they're going to become basketball hell again, to where they had these two outlier seasons. I know they
Yeah,
missed the season
they
last.
had their fun.
They still won 45 plus games, 2 straight seasons. But once you move on for De'Aaron Fox, there's probably not a single asset or piece you're going to get in return to put alongside Domantas Sabonis that's going to make
And
you
at
guys
some
hit.
point, Sabonis is going to be,
He's gone.
what's his value there if he's by
Yeah,
himself? He can
like
put up triple doubles every night, but those are empty triple
doesn't
doubles.
matter. It's the NBA season, and you want them to stay competitive, and you want them to try to recapture that magic that they had from 2 years ago when they were 3 seed out west. But it's not happening. And we're
It's
about to hit
not.
the trade deadline. Do you want to go into the summertime where De'Aaron Fox is looking for a new deal, where DeMar DeRozan is now questioning his role, where Sabonis is probably in the shadows, probably just like, I don't know if we're going to be all that great for the
Mm-hmm.
next X amount of years. So I'd rather rip off the Band-Aid and get this shit going right now, which could be an unpopular opinion because I know people want to hold on, but let's just think about it, people. Out west, who are they better than? Would you take them? Some of the teams that's in their standings, would you take them over the Phoenix Suns?
Mm-mm.
Would you take them over the Los Angeles Lakers?
Not right now. I wouldn't.
Would you
Mm-mm.
take them over the Clippers?
Mm-mm.
It's like these
Yeah,
are teams that they're
and those
close.
are teams that are on the outskirts, kind of like those aren't teams that are locks to be top 6 seeds. You can say, and
No,
yeah. I mean, and they're also, if I pull the thing back up, pull up the standings, they're 2.5 games behind the 10 seed. It's not like they're
no.
tied. And again, it's like they can go on a win streak and they get close or whatever. But the way what we've seen from them this past week, what we've seen from them all year long, and it just seems like it's getting worse. It's not something that's getting better.
Yep.
They need to see the writing on the wall, and they needed, because a lot of times too, people miss the opportunity to trade their star players when their value is high. And I don't want to bring them up because I hate talking about them, but Chicago, they have 2 guys that are prime examples of that. One of them, Nikola Vucevic, still can be saved because he's having a very good season still. But like once you miss that train, especially for someone like De'Aaron Fox with all this the contract situation coming up, like I mentioned, he's still like about to enter his prime probably. This is the time that you trade him. Like it sucks. Like I'm all for like trying to make things work, whatever, and like your star player should be the last one that you try to get rid of. But in this case, it's like they had that one really good season. Yes, they had a few seasons where they had like 40 plus wins, whatever, but they really had that one season, and you can't hold on to that season. Like you can't look at that and be like, oh, that's why we're going to keep De'Aaron Fox because we can replicate that.
Yeah.
At this point, you can't. There's too many top teams in the West for you to do that. I hate to say it. I don't know. We've seen a few teams getting thrown in the mix. I don't know who, would be in the mix of it, actually, and what they'd get in return. But I think if they're going to get something good in return, now's the best time to trade him.
Yeah. And, before we do cycle over to the next topic, it's also like a matter of this league is so rich in point guard depth that it's hard to place him in a lot of different places because who
Right.
really needs
A team that needs a point guard like him, like those are the teams that are going to like be going after the Kings. Like not teams that are just for the shits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's just so many good teams that already have not even if they're not good teams, they already have good point guards
Right.
in place.
And it's like what you're going to offer, what you're going to give up to get someone like De'Aaron Fox. It
Like
could be a playoff team. It could be a team that's contending, that's looking to make the playoffs or something like that too. You don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could say like, oh, let's pick some teams right now, but I genuinely don't know
I can't
what
give you.
teams. San Antonio is a team that I saw getting thrown in the mix, but I feel like when it comes to people on the market, the Spurs are always going to be in the mix to try to get someone with Wemby, and they
Yeah.
have assets and stuff. But I think we'll have to just wait and see which teams come out of the woodworks for De'Aaron Fox.
Trade deadline's coming up before we know it, man. February will be here in a heartbeat, so we'll
Yep.
keep an eye out.
It comes up quick, just like this Christmas season. But you know what else comes up quick? What's something that has been blindsiding the Orlando Magic, and that's injuries, Jerry. Man, they just can't. They
Can't get
can't stay healthy, and it's a lot. It's a lot of injuries that are like similar because you have Franz and Paulo who have torn obliques. Suggs is day to day with what injury did he have? Was it a hamstring or was it
I think it's his ankle. I have
ankle? Okay, I knew it was a lower body. I forget what it was. And now Mo Wagner, the
He's
brother of Franz,
done.
torn an ACL. And when Franz was out, Mo Wagner had actually some good games. You're like, oh, he's stepping up in his brother's place, torn ACL. So Orlando is still fourth in the East, miraculously. 2.5 games up in Milwaukee, 1 game behind New York. With everything going on with them this year, they're 11-2 at home. They're not great away, but they're a very good home team still. They're holding their own with all this considering.
Yep.
What does this say to you about the Magic? Because to me, I'm seeing a team that we were high on them going into this year, especially with their playoff run last year. They didn't get past the first round, but got to Game 7 against a good Cleveland team. What does this say to you about this team? Because without these star players, they're still finding ways to win. We know they have a ton of depth. They have a very good coach over in Orlando. Do you think that when obviously Mo Wagner's out for the year, but when Suggs, Franz, and Paulo are back, and let's just say, God forbid, hopefully they all stay healthy, is this a team that you can actually see making a legit run? Because if they're doing this without their star players, you add them back in the mix, they might. I think that they could be in the fold here with some of the top teams in the East.
Yeah, to answer the first half, this tells me that this is a well-coached team.
Mm-hmm.
That Jamal Mosley was given the opportunity to take this job, and management showed patience with letting him, or drafting guys and letting him develop guys,
Yep.
taking the Cole Anthonys of the world, the Wendell Carters, and also making these big-time, low-key signings like Goga Bitadze actually becoming a solid starting caliber center, which is amazing for them. But making again another big free agency acquisition in KCP, I think Jamal Mosley is who I'm going to highlight here. Like it's giving the vibes of Ty Lue and what he did of maybe 2019, 2020, whenever he took over the Clippers and Kawhi's out, PG's out. You don't have those guys, but you guys are still making a solid playoff run. Or even what Doc Rivers was able to do with Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell being the main guys on that Clipper squad that took the Warriors to 5 games. It's the KD Warriors, but still, they took a game without any of their all-star caliber players. And
hard to do, even if you do have all-star caliber players.
Exactly. LeBron knows, trust me.
Yep.
So watching Jamal Mosley kind of do his best Ty Lue or Doc Rivers impression, it kind of sticks out. Like he has the rotation shored up. They were down big to Miami a couple nights ago, and Cole Anthony goes crazy.
Yeah, went crazy in the fourth, came back.
Drops 35 in that game with, again, no big-time players, no Paulo, no Franz. So that's my main takeaway of, like, what we're watching, like, currently. Like, wow, Jamal Mosley's coaching his ass off. And for this team, yeah, they might kind of suck on the road, but for them to be this elite still at this point in the game, in this point in the season, that's great.
Because they could have slipped down the Eastern rankings. Yes. They could have slipped down the standings. They could have been in the play-in spot. It's when a team's missing their 2 best guys, who them especially, both of them having career years. Obviously, both still young, but having career years. Both Franz got a big contract, so he's locked in and everything. And for the team to step up the way they have, and I think coaching does deserve a huge spotlight here. I'm encouraged when they come back. I think this Orlando team can be good. I'm not going to say that they're on the level as like a Boston or Cleveland, but man, I think they can make some noise. And I know we've talked to in the past of like, maybe they're a team that makes another move. They have a lot of assets and stuff. Maybe they add another piece before the playoffs, the trade deadline being a few months away. You don't know, or they keep everything together because obviously guys are playing well without them. So you just add them into the mix and just see what you can get out of it, and then maybe next offseason you figure out what you want to do there. But yeah, man, I think good for Orlando. Good for Orlando. Good for everyone there because this could have been a shitty season for them, but all considering, it's still looking really good for them.
Yeah, it's easy to get discouraged, right? Like once you're missing out on your guys, and like
Yeah.
probably not going to be that successful when you go up against some of these teams above you in the standings, or the Boston or the Clevelands of the world, like you mentioned, or even the teams out west. When you take those trips, it's probably not looking too good. But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
They've remained relevant, and I
have.
I can't be anymore. I'm not even a Magic fan, but damn it, Orlando Magic.
Orlando
I
Magic.
feel good.
The
I feel
one
good.
thing that does suck about going back to the last hop, if the Kings do decide to blow things up, lighting the beam, we're gonna have to stop it. Who's gonna be lighting the beam anymore?
Not gonna lie, I don't really care. But hey,
Maybe they do Orlando Magic thing, because I'm thinking if the Magic sucked, we wouldn't be able to hear that song on TikTok and Twitter
you're
and
right.
stuff.
And I think the light
So
the beam thing, like it's a
it was
dope.
good. That one season is when it was really going. I really haven't seen much of it since. The Orlando Magic, they're very good at keeping it relevant.
Yeah, like they're gonna roll it back in. Like the light the beam concept just seemed kind of like it was dope the first season. Oh, after every win, but it's like these are regular season games. It's the King. It's the Kings. So I get it. Like this is
They
dope.
have they
We didn't win a lot.
deserve. Listen, for what they've been through the last 20 years, they deserve to light a beam. They
That's
they deserve to hit a
my bad.
button and
My
light a
bad,
beam.
Kings fans. I've been spoiled with winning for the franchise that I'm a fan of. So maybe I just don't value regular seasons wins as much. And
We're rooting for Sacramento fans. That's for sure. We're rooting for their well-being and their mental
hey,
health.
it's the Christmas season. You're damn right I am, man. Let's look, you guys. Trade DeMar. Trade everybody, man.
Trade everyone.
Clean house. Get out of here.
Fuck it, trade everyone.
Uh,
All right. All right, enough about the Kings. Enough about the Kings. We can talk about a team that could be trading for De'Aaron Fox here, a member of the Kings. Let's talk about Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, a player that's not getting highlighted by the NBA. Probably a reason why their ratings are down so much. But we're not here to talk about that. Victor Wembanyama is on a trajectory, Jerry, to be the GOAT in more ways than one. So he hit 200 career threes over the last few nights. He hit it in 94 total games. To anyone keeping track at home, that's more than Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, James Harden, Reggie Miller. And to all our basketball fans out there, that is the top 5 list for most career three-pointers.
yeah.
So Victor Wembanyama, 7'3" center from France, has more career threes in the first 94 games than those three for fast to hit 200 career threes as well. Also, he has 341 blocks through 94 games. And that is more than Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. For all those people keeping track at home, all of those players are some of the best defenders of all time. Most of them are multiple Defensive Player of the Years. And Victor Wembanyama has more career blocks than all of them through his first 94 games. And another thing I want to throw in, Jerry, and one more, and there's more. But wait, there's more. Victor Wembanyama, and now this stat doesn't seem real to me. This is like a Wilt Chamberlain stat. This is a fake fraudulent stat. I just don't understand how it's real. He has more blocks than 91.1% of all players in NBA history. Let me say that. I'm going to, hold on. Let me repeat that one more time in case I had something in my throat. Victor Wembanyama has more blocks than 91.1% of all players in NBA history. That's history, history, not active, history.
His story.
His story. Jerry, we're in the midst of greatness right now. This is ridiculous what we're seeing. This is legendary. This is historic. I don't know if I have a question for you. I just kind of want you to elaborate, I guess, on what you're seeing, if we're seeing the same thing here. Well, what we are seeing, but on League Pass, not on national television, because for some reason Adam Silver refuses to put this player, on national TV. But yeah, I guess I have a question. Is he going to be the GOAT? Is he going to be the GOAT? What's going on with Wembanyama? Because at this point, he's doing things that we've never seen before, and he's going to continue to do things. He's in his second season. He's in his second season. This is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I think we need to start. I just thought about it while you read out that last ridiculous stat with him having 91 or more blocks than 91% of the league of all time. Like, they didn't count blocks for years. So, like, guys like Wilt and Kareem and Bill probably, like, I'd imagine would be somewhere towards the top.
For sure.
This thing, like, I know Hakeem is the all-time blocks leader, but, like, Wilt and Kareem and Bill probably would have been the top.
Back no goaltending, the league, the way they were playing, they probably were averaging close to 10 blocks a game back in the day.
I'd imagine, but I digress. And anyway, like with this is ridiculous, man. Like I don't think there's a better word to sum up what we're watching, because like you could see some crazy highlight from this dude at any given moment on either end of the floor, with whether it's him hitting a trail leg one-legged three, or stepping out from the paint to block a 3-pointer, and all he did was take one step.
Yep.
Like, I thought we had a freak already in the league, no Diddy, of course, in Giannis, where it just seemed like, this dude he's athletic as they come. He's dunking from damn near the free throw line. He gets down the court in 3 steps.
Yep.
Wemby makes Giannis.
And Wemby shows up. And then Wemby walks through the door.
Just makes him look somewhat normal to some degree to have, like, Victor Wembanyama in the league. And I also just saw this on Twitter, so I thought I'd read it out to you, since I'm sure you'd love this as well. Victor Wembanyama becomes the 6th player in NBA history to record 30 points and 10 blocks in a game. So that's a list that includes nothing but Hall of Famers and a future Hall of Famer. And Hakeem, who did it 5 times. David Robinson did it 3 times. Artis Gilmore did it once. Dwight Howard did it once. And Kareem also did it once. So
not bad company. Not bad company.
Elite company. And not only, obviously,
we did talk about how they didn't count it, but if you see someone on a list that Wilt Chamberlain isn't on, then it's something crazy. It's something crazy.
Whatever the hell that Wilt doesn't exist. But
no, he doesn't.
Just having Wemby up there with these centers, and then we switched over to the guards for the 3-point ranks, and like you mentioned, these are the top 5 shooters in NBA history from 3-point range, at least in terms of makes. So for him to be like at this pace already, one, it goes to show that the NBA is definitely a fully 3-point centric league. Yeah. And if you can't shoot the 3 ball, no matter your position, you're probably not going to be on an NBA roster.
They're going to fizzle out big time. Yep.
Very quickly. You need to be a stretch everything. You just can't be a sloshy shot blocker anymore. If you're going to be a shot blocker, you need to be able to step out and hit a 3. That's just
the Rudy Goberts are out the door. No. The days of Rudy Goberts are no more.
You're not going to see any more statues. Guys have to be fluid on the perimeter. You have to be mobile. Like, there's a lot that you have to do. Center's probably the hardest position to play now, because you can't be.
There's a lot of expectations. A lot of expectations from an NBA center. When you got guys like Wembanyama coming into the league, and it's like that's who you're supposed to replicate. That's who you're supposed to be like. And
if you're gonna be 7'2", you can't be your traditional 2000 center anymore. It's not.
No,
you have to be.
It doesn't work anymore.
That's crazy.
And the way it's going, the way it's trending, from what we see from young guys, young prospects, that's how kids are being trained. These are kids are being, this is how the NBA is nowadays. And I'm just looking at his stats, like across the board, his numbers are basically up. His rebounds are down a tiny bit, but it's not like it's much. I'm looking at his 3-point shots. Now we're how many games into the season are the Spurs? They're probably 25 games into the season. About a quarter. We'll say they're a quarter of the way in the season, just to be safe. Victor Wembanyama already has shot well more than half of what he did last year. So he's on pace to shoot over 500-600 threes this year.
The point guard.
Not only is it like he's a 3-point shooter. Like, it's not just something that's like in his game, like in his bag where he can do. Like, that's like a big part of his game. And we've the last 10 games he's really been just electric and filling up the stat sheet. but it's his 3-point percentage that's gotten a lot better, because that's something that he really he shoots a lot. And at the beginning of the season, he was missing a lot. He only shot 32% from three last year too, so it's not like he was an above average shooter. He's only shooting 35% this year, so still like average, but it's how much he's shooting and how much like it's a part of his game where it's just going to keep getting better. Like he started the season off slower. The last 10 games, he's shooting 40-50% from three. So he's figuring it out. And like the fact that he was shooting that low from 3-point percentage and still putting up these crazy numbers, once he starts hitting threes from a like respectable rate, like a 37%, like a little bit above average, forget about it. Like he's already unguardable. He's going to average 30 plus points a game and 5 blocks a game at some point in his career. That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
Like, I guess the question I have for you is just, where do you think he's going to end up on all these all-time lists? Because Hakeem's record is finally in danger. There's somebody that could elevate themselves to get possibly 3,000 plus blocks. And the fact that he's passed him already goes to show he's on a good pace to potentially pass him, barring no major injuries. But not just that, but should Steph be nervous? Should James Harden and all these guys on this three-point list, should they be shaking? Maybe not past Steph, because the volume of shots for a guard is always going to be different. But Wemby is gone to show, like, hey, man, I'm not your typical center. I'm basically Kevin Durant, just stretched out a little bit longer with more innate defensive ability. So where is he going to land on these lists? Like, we're thinking, like, LeBron's obviously top 5 in a lot of these things. Assists, points. I don't know where he's at in rebounds and blocks and stuff, but probably top 10, top 15, wherever he lands at. Where's Wemby going to land on points, rebounds, blocks, and even three-pointers made? Like, what is your educated guess here?
I mean, honestly, I think every record's meant to be broken. I'll say that first and foremost. I'm not saying he's going to break the 3-point record or anything, but I just think just with the history, just evolution in general, and just that, things constantly changing, the way the league's been changing, the NBA, I think that it wouldn't be shocking if all records we see now are broken. I think, scoring can keep up, can get more fast-paced. I think the scoring record can be broken. I'm not saying Wemby's going to do it, but I can see Steph's 3-point record being broken one day, as crazy as that sounds, because we're just scratching the surface of what this league is as far as 3-point shooting, because it still is fairly new in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
As far as Victor Wembanyama goes, I think as long as he stays healthy, I think he'll absolutely be in the mix for these things, because like we said, all records are meant to be broken. He already has more blocks than 91% of players in league history. By the end of his career, if you told me he's number 1 in blocks, he's number 1 in rebounds, he's top 10 in points, most points for a center or whatever, like, I'd be like, yeah, I believe you for sure. It really just does come down to health, longevity. Obviously, like, he's an anomaly. Like, someone like him we haven't seen before. Like, he's not a traditional center, so it's just like we can't compare him to other centers and be like, he can't do this, because we've never seen someone do things that he does. But because he's an anomaly, we don't know like if he can if he can withstand this.
Yeah.
If it's sustainable. Is that me saying I don't think it is? Absolutely not. I think it is. I think he could have a very long, healthy career and go down as one of the greatest players to ever step on a basketball court. But in a 20-year lifespan, we'll just say in the NBA, it's hard to stay healthy all the time, and who knows how that could affect his career if he does get hurt. So optimistically, I think he could finish towards the top of a lot of these lists. It really just comes down to health and what goes on throughout the rest of his career.
It is always going to be a battle of attrition at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's always just if they stay healthy for anyone.
I'm right there with you. I think there could be a lot of different shakeups, and I agree. Records are definitely meant to be broken, where Wemby could very well scratch the surface of being top 10 all time and made threes potentially. But I also think guys that are currently in the league and probably a little better than him in some people's opinions now, like a Luka, like Anthony Edwards, or even a Trae Young, those guys could touch, the 3-point record. Maybe they could be 30,000 point scorers. Like
100%.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yep. Anthony Edwards is the guy that has the numbers. That's like he's the fastest to hit like 500, 600, 700 threes. Like he's Very much
It's
so
all
on
about, and
pace to be doing
obviously
that
Steph
too.
kind of got hindered by injuries earlier in his career too, and he still managed to make this
Absolutely.
snowball where
Yeah.
he's
Says a lot
800
about
threes in
him.
front of the second place guy who just got to 3,000 at James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you can create this distance if the system is tailored for you, as we saw. So I'm interested to see where Wemby ends up on
Right.
this thing, but it's I think his name's gonna be plastered all over these damn record books. It's gonna be crazy. Blocks, points, 3-pointers made,
Yeah.
rebounds potential. It's the sky's the limit, and he could very well be the greatest basketball player,
I think
depending on how many accolades he does rack up. So I'm ready to just sit back, grab the popcorn, and see how things pan out, dog.
as crazy as it sounds, it's like in league history, when one top tier like potential GOAT exits,
Yeah,
another enters. I'm not putting that label on him. I'm not putting that label on him by any means, but you had Jordan, then you got LeBron. And I'm not saying LeBron's stepping away now, but once LeBron's gone, I think Wembanyama is going to be the next guy up. I'm not saying he's going to be a GOAT. I'm not putting him on that level, but what we're seeing right now, it definitely looks like we could be going down that path. So that's all I'm going to say there. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Jerry, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close out this Christmas themed episode of Sitting
if Wemby
Courtside?
is going to trend towards that kind of trajectory, it's important to note that even guys like MJ, even guys like LeBron, they struggle to become these generational goats or torch bearers, if you will. MJ couldn't win a damn thing, couldn't get past the Celtics, for those years, couldn't get back the Pistons after a while later in the '80s until Scotty got there. LeBron wasn't even really the best, in my opinion. LeBron wasn't even the best player in the league up until 2010, 2011, maybe, where I consider that more of a Kobe-driven league for those early 2000s, or a guy like Shaq, Tim Duncan, you could even throw out. So now, like Wemby has his work cut out for him.
Oh,
There's
he
a
does.
Luka,
He's got
there's a
competition
SGA,
around
there's a
him.
Jason Tatum. Like I got
Is it
you. Hey,
Tatum?
don't worry,
I was,
man. I got you.
I was gonna say, don't.
I'm gonna look out for you. There's
Don't be one of those
I got you.
one of those Twitter heads. All
It's
right,
me,
don't
baby.
be one
It's
of
me.
those.
It's me.
One of those. I know.
There you
It's
go.
Black Santa. It's Black Santa.
But there's a lot. There's a lot that he has to do to climb that mountaintop. Because you can't be the GOAT
Absolutely.
with no championships or one championship. You got to have multiple. You got to have MVPs. You got to have DPOI. So it'll be interesting to see. So that's my just my 2 cents.
No, hey, I think that's a great 2 cents, Jerry, and I'll give my thoughts and prayers to all the fantasy football owners out there, and congratulations to all of them too that are moving on to the next round. This year actually has been so weird for me. I'm making the finals in one in my dynasty league. My other dynasty league, it comes down to Jordan Love tonight. So at this point, the video comes out, I'll know of him in the finals or not. In my loser bracket, I will be in the last place game because Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield decided to have 4 more points than I needed him to get last night, and I started Aaron Rodgers over Anthony Richardson, and that cost me my win. Don't look at me like I should have started Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is the most inconsistent quarterback in football this year. Aaron Rodgers has had like 3 straight weeks of like pretty good performances. He didn't have a bad game, Rodgers. It's just Anthony Richardson had a better game. If I knew he was gonna have 2 rushing touchdowns, I would have started him. But I know. I also had Jonathan Taylor, so I figured I shouldn't start both of them. I did start the right one in the grand scheme of things, but listen, regardless, I should have been last place anyways. It didn't come down to whether or not I started Aaron Rodgers in week 15 or not. My team was booty cheeks for a reason. I hope no one's team is as bad as mine, and I wish you the best of luck if you're in the championship or a loser's game. But Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you had a great time watching this episode. Thank you for your constant support. Again, I hope you had a great Christmas with family, friends, whoever you're with. Hope you had a great holidays. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Put in the comments, if you think De'Aaron Fox should be traded, if you think DeMar DeRozan should be traded, if Victor Wembanyama is going to be on your GOAT list at the end of the day, where you think he'll finish all time. If you're an audio-only listener, make sure to give this a 5-star review, 5-star rating, all that good stuff. Follow us on social media. Everywhere you look us up, we're there. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next week for a monumental episode. think you'll know what
Shove
that
'em.
means.
I hope they do.